welcome to the first Dinner with the Doc of 2017. We're so happy to have some new faces here and see some familiar faces as well. A little bit about Dr. Tori. For those of you that don't know the story, Freedom Wellness Center right next door, awesome place. A decompression, spinal decompression center with a chiropractic in it, is like how we like to refer to him. Dr. Tori hails from Arizona originally and lived in Colorado for almost 2 decades. Before moving here, I think that's right. I probably just made you 50. I don't know. My math isn't so good. He went to Parker here in Dallas, one of the most prestigious schools. Recognized nationally 3 times, you guys, 3 times. That's like a certification from the nation. That's a very big deal for his spinal decompression work. And that's what sets him apart from most chiropractors. This is really a specialty, though we really can't say that in chiropractic. This is what this man does, and he does it really well. An avid outdoorsman, father of 6 beautiful children, so he's busy. He's a busy guy. He's doing this all and working and playing and having fun. Very, very, very busy with scouts, so living a very well, healthy life, taking care of ourselves. That's really what we base it all on, dinner. So normally we do plant-based dinners. It's kind of our thing, but tonight we're talking about fast food. We're talking about this billion-dollar industry that feeds us not very well. We thought we would do animal protein tonight, just to see how that goes over and to see if we can look back and say, how did we feel? Did we feel better when we ate plant-based, or was tonight delicious? And it is pretty good. I know, really good salad. Without further ado, Dr. Tori.
Thank you.
About fast food.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So before I get started, I just wanted to introduce a couple heavy hitters in the room. First one is Katie Dean. She sells some nutritional products that I support, and they're great for the body. And she's going to be speaking with you next month and a little bit tonight as well. And I fully support her stuff. The other one is Janet Child. She's a certified health coach. She's lost 125 pounds. That deserves a round of applause right there.
I did.
Gone. So I love that because we're all here to get healthier. We're all here to help other people. Okay, how much have you lost? 130 pounds. Great job. So that's super, super exciting because that's where it starts. It starts with the food. Okay, and that's what we're here to talk about. The food is everything that we eat.
Found some of that.
You found some of it? It's all right. We'll help you with that. So thank you for coming, and I appreciate all of you guys here today. And so let's talk about a little bit about what chiropractic is. There's a lot of people have never even been to chiropractor. In fact, the statistic is, and I told her I wouldn't even use a single statistic tonight, and I'm going to break my rule right now, is that 80% of the population has never been to a chiropractor. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty surprising. So we have a lot of work to do to educate everyone on what chiropractic is and how we represent and how we stand for health. So chiropractic is all about the nervous system. We're actually neurologists through and through. We're the best neurologists there are. Most people think of it as the bone doctor. Yeah, we do move bones, and we're quite good at moving bones, but we're actually neurologists. So your nerves control everything in the body, and we call that the vertebral subluxation complex, or the VSC. So what does that mean? That's a lot of fancy words. Well, subluxation is a bone or joint that's twisted that's pushing on a nerve and affecting it. It's affecting that nerve, okay? So you have a breaker box in your house, right? Everyone has a breaker box in their house. So if you overload your appliance, say that you running your hair dryer or microwave and your stove all on say break it, you'll pop it, right? We've all popped breakers before. Well, that's what happens in your body. That's a subluxation in your house, only now you're thinking of your spine as those circuit breakers in your body. When those get twisted and pinching on that nerve, all the organs and tissues and everything downstream stop working the way they're supposed to. Okay? So what is disease defined? Well, it's dis-ease. So when your body is not at ease, it's called a disease. So when you're subluxated, when it's twisted and pinching on that nerve, your body actually has a disease. Subluxation is a disease because it causes your body not to be at ease. And that's a very important distinction on what we do. Is we actually affect the nerves directly. We change the nerves and how they function so that you're functioning at peak performance. Your body will do anything anything and everything to protect its nervous system. So I don't know how many religious people we have in here. We are in the Bible Belt, so it's almost everyone, which is great. But our bodies were designed in a fashion that everything surrounded in bone is the most vital part, okay? Our brain is the most vital thing. The biggest hole that comes out of our brain is about this big, out of our skull, okay? Then our rib cage houses all of our vital organs surrounded in bone, but not as much as the brain, right? And then everything else we can live without, literally. I mean, we see it all the time with the vets. But we can't live without a heart. Can't live without lungs. We can't live without a liver. And they're all surrounded by bone. Okay, so it's important because our body functions in a hierarchy, and the nervous system is the number one, is the primary force of nature that creates our body. And when that starts altering, we start altering, we start gaining weight, we start having pain down the legs, we start having headaches, we start having all of these diseases that we classify and label, but really it's just a malfunction of the body. I mean, every disease out there is a malfunction of the body, period. And that's kind of what we do. That's a chiropractor. So there's several things that cause subluxations or misalignments, okay? Trauma, toxins, and thoughts. So if you're depressed, or if you have or anxiety or stressed out, you guys feel pretty horrible, right? And you feel like, oh, my shoulders are killing, I'm stressed out. Oh, my legs hurting, I'm stressed out. Or if you're depressed, it just feels like you have no energy and you just feel horrible all inside. Thoughts really do impact our physical components of our body. That's one way that we can get subluxations. The second way is trauma. It's a great example of it right here. Hold up your cast, wave it around. Okay, broken arm, ouch, okay, not pleasant. That's another way that we could get subluxations, okay? Car accident, whiplash, okay? Did you know it takes 5 miles an hour to actually cause ligament damage to your neck? It takes up to 2 years to heal that. Do you get 2 years of treatment after you're in a car accident? No, because insurance only pays for 12, so I only go for a couple weeks. Well, so you're not healed yet. Okay, it takes up to 2 years to heal these ligament injuries. The last one is toxins. Toxins are very important to understand because it is a huge, wide variety. It's the least understood category of all of these. Everyone kind of understands stress, depression, all that, and they understand trauma. But toxins goes from anywhere from water to food to drugs to anything that we put into our bodies or breathe into our bodies, okay? We live in DFW area, one of the highest allergy capital in the world almost. Everyone has allergies in DFW, and if you don't, you'll have it next year. Because our body gets beaten down by the amount of toxins we're putting into our body, and then we develop allergies. Okay? Allergies is just the body's way of going, hey, I don't like this, I can't deal with it, I'm going to pack it in mucus and export it. That's all it does. Okay, so tonight we're talking about food, obviously. Okay? Fast food, the billion-dollar addiction. So I'd like to start off with, so when you're hungry and you're driving down the main boulevard, wherever that may be, and you smell that fast food restaurant, your brain goes, oh yeah, I want some of that, right? We all know what we're talking about. That smells amazing, and you normally look over at the next person and go, I need some of that, that smells amazing. Well, why do we do that? Any ideas? Why do we do that? Let's hear it.
Smells delicious.
Smells delicious, yeah? So your brain's going, I'm hungry, I want some of that. Well, we've actually been chemically altered over the years to actually be programmed to smell a couple different things. It's actually 4 things. Sugar, fat, salt, and flavor enhancements. Those are the 4 things that the fast food industry uses to the full advantage. Our body craves these 4 things. Okay, they love it. And they love it so much that they hold on to it forever. Those 4 things. So we're going to go through those 4 categories. So we're going to talk about taste, let's see here, taste, salt, sugar, fat, and flavor enhancements. So let's talk about salt. So first thing is salt. Well, what is it? You know it's actually a metal. I don't know if you guys knew that. On the periodic table, sodium chloride is actually a type of metal. Right? There's the rocket scientist right there. It's in the metal category.
Yes, it is.
So it's interesting, okay? And there's lots of different salts, and a lot of them are very toxic to the human body, but sodium chloride is one that we can ingest. And our body actually uses sodium chloride in a lot of different ways. However, if we ingest too much sodium chloride, it causes what? It causes a whole bunch of things. Let's list some things off. What happens if you have too much salt?
Dehydration.
Whoa, somebody said dehydration. Nice. What else? High blood pressure? That's exactly right. So heart doctors, there's not a heart doctor in here. So what's the first thing they pull when you have a heart attack? Sodium. Gone. You can't have any more sodium. Why? Because it increases your blood pressure. A lot. Actually, tons of increase. What else? So it makes you thirsty, makes you have high blood pressure. What else? Okay. Increases your chance for heart attack. What? Bloated? Bloated. Yeah. Why do you get bloated? That's exactly right. So let's look at it at the cellular level, because we actually do hold on water. You have what's called a sodium-potassium pump in your body, and it pumps sodium out and it pumps potassium in, but it's a gradient-driven. So gradient-driven means if you have high concentration here, it'll pump high concentration to low concentration. But if we take too much salt, then we have way too much salt inside and not enough outside, so it holds on to it. And your water gets hold on, and it never exports that water out of the cell. So your cellular respiration drops down. Now B12 will help you with your cellular respiration, but you need to just cut the salt out. So salt, lots of water weight. In fact, this is why fad diets are so amazing. It's because what do? They remove salt, and what do you do for the first week? You lose like 10 pounds. Yes! It's all water weight, guys. You didn't lose any fat. It's just water weight. You remove the sodium out of your body, all of a sudden it's dumping water. That's the whole purpose of fad diets. It's a diuretic diet. That's what most of them are.
Is pizza without salt helpful?
Pizza without salt. I don't think I've ever had pizza without salt. It probably tastes like cardboard. No, definitely not good. Okay.
What's the difference then between like accent and salt?
Accent and salt.
Yeah.
Accent meaning what?
Cooking. It's a cooking. It's called accent. It's the flavor.
The flavoring? Oh, I don't know. Obviously, I don't cook enough.
No.
Is it an MSG flavoring? Help me out, guys.
It's a flavor enhancer.
Flavor enhancer. Do you know what it's made of? MSG?
I'm not certain.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with the brand. Well,
It's
we're
supposed to be for people that shouldn't eat a lot of salt.
Oh.
So you only cook with accent.
I'll look into it for you. How about that? I've never heard of it.
No, that's another one. That's another one. Yeah.
I'll look into it. I don't know what accent is. So the question is actually, how much salt do we need in our diet? The answer is 0. Actually, we don't require any salt because fruits and vegetables contain sodium and they're in a bioavailable source, so that you actually don't need salt. So there's I think she's 93-year-old, the daughter of Dr. Gershon of the Gershon therapy, who cures cancer all over the world. It's amazing. She's never had an ounce of salt in her life, and I watched a video of her when she was 93. I tell you, she has more energy than I do, and I feel like I'm pretty hyper most of the time. And her mind was the sharpest I've ever seen, sharp as a tack, and she's never had sodium in her life. I'm just like, what? So I started researching it out, and you actually don't need sodium because it's actually contained in fruits and vegetables. So that's a good one. All right, stroke, and then kidneys is the final thing. Why are our kidneys affected with sodium? That's our filters, okay? So the spleen filters the blood, but the kidneys actually filter out the sodium, and they take a beating, a pretty hard beating with the sodium intake. Okay, salt is very addicting as well, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Okay, let's go on to sugar. This is a good one. Okay, what does sugar do?
Make you fat.
Make you fat. Okay, we'll talk about why it makes you fat. Okay, the fast food is huge. Have anyone ever looked at how much sodium is actually in like a McDonald's burgers? It's like your whole daily intake in one burger. That's without the fries. I mean, that's huge. It's thousands of milligrams in one patty. Why? Because it makes you want more. Okay, sugar. So sugar makes you fat, sure. Okay. Okay. There's very addicting. In fact, it's said that heroin has the same physical cravings as an addicted person on sugar. Not the psychological, but physical addiction, which is interesting. Because sugar can be really hard to break, and you go through massive withdrawal. So it's very addicting. Very, very good. What else? Sugar is bad for your body because it weakens your immune system, makes you sick all the time, right? Is that what your mom says? Probably. What child does? All right, so let's talk about the different types of sugar. There's actually 2 types that our body can use, unless you get into the artificial sugars, which those are really bad. We'll talk a little bit about those. So we have fructose and glucose.
It is. Accent has MSG.
Okay, so bad. Very bad. We're going to talk about MSG at length, actually, today. I need to speed this up because I'm going too slow. I get too excited. I love this information. So fructose and glucose, okay? What does our body like to use?
Fructose is more stable.
Fructose is more stable, but can our body use fructose? Why is it more stable?
It takes longer to break down.
Because fructose breaks down into glucose.
Right.
Our body uses glucose. Who said it over here? High five. Whoosh. Well done. Our body uses glucose. It can't use fructose. It has to break it down, which is why it's more stable. It's a complex carb, if you will. However, what organ of the body converts fructose to glucose?
Liver?
What? High five. Whoosh. The liver. That's right. The liver is actually the only organ that converts this. So this brings me to my next point, is what order does our body burn fat? So it burns carbs first, right? What does it burn next? So carbs is a sugar. Yeah. So we have carbs, fats, and proteins. Which order does it burn it in?
Protein.
Burns protein second, and then it burns fat. So what are our muscles made out of? So how do we ever burn fat? How do we ever burn fat if we burn carbs, then proteins, and then when there are no proteins, it burns fat?
I didn't know it burned.
Yeah, that's what it converts it in because it's easier. Fat is the hardest thing for the liver to convert. It will pull all the other sources before it pulls fat. This fat is very hard to convert. Okay, goes into gluconeogenesis. You have to look that up. That's really technical and it's really fun, but it's whatever. So how do we do it? Well, as a rocket scientist, you're going to love this
Stop it.
because it's called a catalyst. A catalyst, right? What's the purpose of a catalyst? To make something very hard a lot easier to do. Okay, so that's how we're able to do it. Now, what's the catalyst in the human body? In fact, we have about 7 of them. Hormones. They're hormones. That's how we're able to bypass proteins and actually burn fat. Hormones. Why do you think women have such a hard time losing weight? Guys can lose it easy, right? We're like, we're going to lose weight. 2 weeks later, we're 20 pounds down. We're like, all right, we're good. We're going back up and we're eating pizza with no salt. So it's actually hormones, okay? And there's actually 7 fat-burning hormones, okay? However, there's only 2 hormones that shut down all. In fact, you only need 2 hormones that will shut down all the fat-burning hormones, but you only one at a time will shut it down. You don't have to have 2 present. The first one is cortisol, okay? So cortisol will shut down every fat-burning hormone in your body. So what's cortisol produced from? Stress. What type of stress? So physical and emotional. So if you break your arm, cortisol release. If you have a divorce, cortisol release. What's the difference between a broken arm and a divorce? Nothing. Your body treats it the same. You have a massive cortisol dump. Boom. What's the biggest problem, especially in America, with cortisol release? You know it. So you're cheating now. Sleep. Lack of sleep. A lack of sleep will cause your cortisol levels to skyrocket. And how much fat burning do you get when you have cortisols present? None. You don't lose weight. You have to have sleep. And how much sleep do you need? Well, these children right here should be getting about 10 to 12 hours a night. As adults over the age of 30, we require 7 to 8 hours. Okay, if you're over 65, it's typically around 6 to 7. So your sleep decreases because your energy output decreases. You don't need to recover as much. But kids, they're running around and bouncing off the walls like yo-yos. I know, I have 6 of them. And I have holes in the wall to prove it. All right. Does that make sense? Cortisol, okay? And there's a couple other, there's one more, but we'll get into that. It's a whole other discussion. I could talk about hormones all day long. There's a great book by Eric Berg, the seven fat-burning hormones, I think is what it's called. A great book, very eye-opening. I read it and went, what? This is pretty amazing. So it really helps you. The biggest fat-burning hormone in your body, though, is growth hormone, GH. Okay, that's the biggest one. So there's a big fad diet going out there. It's not fad because it's been around for years, but it's called the HCG diet. So what do they pump in you? Growth hormone. So they spike your levels of growth hormone, and your body goes, oh, awesome, I'm going to burn all this fat because I have all this hormones in here. And then what happens when the hormone's done? Boom, crash and burn. You're still eating the same way. Back on it goes. Okay, doesn't work. It's not sustainable. It is sustainable, though, if you lift weights, because guess what happens when you lift weights? Growth hormone. because you're tearing up muscle and your body goes, oh, I need to repair that. So where do you actually lose weight at? This is really getting off topic.
The gym.
The gym. Actually, no. You actually get it when you're sleeping. You lose weight when you sleep, because that's when your repair cycle happens, right? So your body goes, work out real hard, tear all the muscles up to shreds, and you go to sleep, and that's when the body goes, okay, repair cycle. So gluconeogenesis kicks in, and it starts harvesting all this fat based off of the growth hormone, because your body released tons of growth hormone to actually start harvesting this fat. So the best weight loss program is heavy weights, not cardio. Go to the gym and look at the people running on the treadmill. They're all fat. You look at the people lifting weights, they're all ripped. There's a huge difference because they're actually releasing growth hormones. Okay, so fat. Why do we have fat? So we have salt, sugar, fat, and flavor enhancers. So fat. Why do fast food restaurants put fat in the food? It's addictive. It's what? Addictive. And someone said it over here. Flavor. Okay, what's the most flavorful steak?
Oh, with the fat.
It's the one with the fat. Why? Because it tastes good. It's nasty, but it tastes good. Okay, so what organ in the body breaks down fat? There's only one. The liver. Now, how important is it when you're trying to lose weight to detox the liver? Oh, it's vital. It's vital. It's not okay, yeah, I think I'm going to do some liver support. No, you have to do liver support. And I have several different ways to do it. I have my favorites that work really well. Okay, and then flavor enhancers. And this is the meat of the program right here. Flavor enhancers. Whew. Let's talk about MSG. What is MSG? Does anyone know what it stands for?
Sodium glutamate.
Yeah, everybody knows this because it was big in the 80s, right? It's just like blew out of the water. That's about when you were 10, right? Chinese food. So let's bring that up. Thank you. So has anyone ever sat down to Chinese food and they have like 5 entrees out there and you walk away and you've eaten every single entree? You're like, wow, I'm still hungry. Well, you know what MSG actually does? It's an appetite suppressor. You just ingested 3,000 calories and you're still hungry when your body is supposed to go, hello, 3,000 calories, go throw up. And that's what you're supposed to be doing at 3,000 calories. But instead, your body goes, no, I'm still hungry, I'm still hungry, I'm still hungry. So there's restaurants out there that's all they put in there is MSG. Why? Because it makes you hungry. Supersize me? Sure, throw some MSG in there. You can eat it all, no problem, and you want dessert. And then you'll come back in a couple hours because it has an appetite suppressant. MSG, horrible stuff because it just makes you want more. Also, MSG is super concentrated salt, so it causes massive water retention. So it's highly concentrated. MSG is also addicting. And they use it to cover up poor cuts of food, so mostly poor cuts of meat. So most Chinese restaurants that you go to, the meats are pretty bad.
So when I taste it, I feel the pressure. It actually puts pressure on my head and everything. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's actually a side effect, and it's in here, but I wasn't going to read it because we're so far behind. So there's lots of side effects. There's lots of side effects to MSG. Lots of side effects to MSG. The biggest one is headaches. Costa Vida is a restaurant that I used to love. I went there about a year ago and walked away, and about half an hour later, I had the worst headache. I was like, I think I'm dying. And then I got home and Googled it, and they put so much MSG in their stuff. I was like, I can't eat there anymore. Every single line item had MSG in it. I was like, what is with these people? Okay, so the next one is called casein. C-A-S-E-I-N. Has anyone ever heard of this? You've heard of it. Look at that. See that? Casein. So casein it's a protein. Okay? It's found in milk. Okay? Animal milk. It's actually found in breast milk as well in humans. Yes. So there's a difference between lactose intolerant and milk allergies. So lactose intolerant is, what's the signs and symptoms of this? Everyone's done eating? It's diarrhea, right? That's typically what it is. Oh! And then the next hour you're done. But if you're allergic to milk, you actually have swollen lips and stuff like that. It's actually you're not allergic to lactose, which is a sugar, by the way. Lactose, the toast is a sugar, and you need lactase to digest that sugar. Okay, just like we can't handle fructose, we can't handle lactose either without an enzyme. But it's because of the stuff. It's because of casein. That's what you're allergic to. So what is casein? Well, it's a protein. It comes in milk and cheeses. It's really highly concentrated in cheeses, butter, all that stuff. They're putting it into whey. Okay, how many of you drink a protein shake? Does it have whey in it? Yours doesn't. I know yours doesn't. Okay? If it has whey in it, guess what? You're getting casein. Okay? Casein also is used as a binding agent. How many of you have plastic buttons on today? Guess what? The binding agent is casein. That's what they use. But we're eating it by the gallonfuls. Casein. Okay? So what does it do to our body? I know, that's disgusting, I know. So casein actually, so what's the purpose of drinking a protein shake? What do we want? We're weight loss, right? We're trying to lose weight, so why do we do it? Protein? Satisfied, right? It's an appetite suppressant. You feel good. So it's another appetite suppressant, but what it actually does, it actually slows the excretions of the stomach acids down, slows the peristalsis down. Everything shuts down so that it moves very slowly. And that's how it works. So when you drink your protein shake, you got casein going through your body, and you're like, hey, I'm not full for like 5 hours. We're good to go. And look, I only had like 150 calories. I'm losing weight like crazy. Wrong, because your whole body is shutting down. Your whole metabolism shutting down. Everything's shutting down because of the casein. Okay, and it's very highly addictive. In fact, let's see here. I got to read this one exactly right. Casein, one of the proteins in milk, crosses the blood-brain barrier. So the very few chemicals in the world actually cross the blood-brain barrier. It's also the placenta barrier. It's very safe. There's very few things that do it. And when it crosses it, it becomes a casomorphin. So it's actually part of the morphine category. It's a subunit of morphine. So when you're eating this stuff. And nature designed it so that young mammals would enjoy nursing and come back and live long and stuff like that. But morphine actually turns into a morphine substrate in your brain, and it becomes highly, highly addictive. Now, I've been in my profession for 10 years, and I've been preaching weight loss and eating right for about 10 years. And you know what the number one food that people can't give up? Cheese. They go, I do everything right except for cheese. And I was like, that's the one thing you shouldn't be doing. Cheese and milk, absolute no on my diet program. You just cannot have it because of the casein in there. It's morphine to the brain. People cannot give it up. People crave cheese like it's no tomorrow. And that's why. It's because you're actually chemically addicted to it. Now, has anyone read or heard of the China study? Okay, pretty famous book by Dr. Colin Campbell. If you haven't read it, it will change your life. I guarantee it. Called the China study. It's absolutely amazing. He said that when he was researching, our work showed that casein is the most relevant cancer promoter ever discovered in human history. That means that it causes cancer more than any other chemical out there, including smoking, tobacco, and all this other stuff. It causes cancer much higher. So how do they test this? Well, they test it on lab rats, right? So they inject these lab rats with high doses of nicotine to see if it causes cancer. Well, yeah, nicotine causes cancer. Okay, anything at high doses can actually cause cancer, really. But casein, when given at a normal recommended value, intake value, was causing cancer. Normal values. That means your block of cheese is causing cancer in your body because it's at a normal value. You don't have to eat 10 blocks. You eat one slice, and that causes cancer in your body. The highest cancer-causing agent ever known to man. And that was published in 2009. So that wasn't in the 1930s. That was a couple years ago. And he went on to say, casein, in fact, is the most relevant chemical carcinogen ever identified. Its cancer-producing effects occur in animals at consumption levels close to normal, like I was telling you. And it actually caused cancer in every single specimen of lab rat at normal levels. Casein, we eat it on a daily basis in a cheese. And here I fed you cheese today, sorry. Yeah, well, there is some cheese in there, but we don't eat cheese at our house, so we don't eat meat hardly ever either. So that's casein. That's fast food. They pump it full of everything. Why? Because it's highly, highly addictive. It is a morphine in your body. That's why you're hungry all the time. You want more, and now you're addicted to it. And that's why fast food companies are making billions. I mean, Texas was the third fattest state in the nation because we have more fast food restaurants per capita than any other state in the nation. Well, number 3. I can't remember what number 1 or number 2 was. That was a couple of sessions ago. So why do we get addicted to these things? Well, we know we have a chemical addiction. We know that we have a physiological addiction, but let's talk about the social addiction. And this is where I'll end before we turn it over to Katie. Is who's ever heard of the hormone called dopamine? Okay, everyone, right? Everyone likes dopamine. Why? What does dopamine do? Makes you feel. It's a feel-good hormone, right? Calms you down. Very similar reaction to like marijuana. Okay, you just feel good. It's a relaxing, I feel good
I
drug.
don't know about that, do you?
No, but I've studied it. No. So dopamine, it's a great drug. So we're in American, mostly almost all over the world now, we're on a reward-based food system, right? We eat when we're depressed, we eat when we're happy, we are on reward. I'm depressed, I need chocolate. Oh, I'm happy, I need chocolate. I've had a kind of a long day, I'll have chocolate. It's a reward-based system. All of us go through it. Don't shake your head no, because I know you're lying. All of us do it. Okay, I do it in my clinic. Oh, we had a great day. I'm going to go home and have ice cream. Oh, it's a bad idea because I hate it. Oh, I love it, but I regret it every time I do it. But yet I still do it. Why? Because I am actually somewhat addicted to it, and I'm trying to break that addiction. It's hard. It's a morphine addiction, people. It's not an easy addiction. That's why a support group like Janet always claims is so important, because are we perfect 100% of the time? Nope. Okay? There's only one man that I know is perfect, and he has 3 letters. I have 4. Okay? So that's how it is. So support groups, stay away from fast food. Please, please, please. Okay, make your own. Chipotle, I will shout out for Chipotle today, and we were actually going to order them. Chipotle doesn't have any MSG, doesn't have any hormones. It is hormone-free, MSG-free. It is clean, clean, clean food, except for the cheese and sour cream, which if you get the veggie bowl, you can avoid that step, and it doesn't change the flavor at all. So when you say, oh gosh, where are we going to go eat tonight? Eat at Chipotle's. It's so much better for you. Or eat at Salata, where they actually have, vegetables and stuff like that. So there are healthy choices out there to eat, but the best way to eat is eat at home. So I'm going to turn some time over to Katie, and then after Katie's done, we'll wrap it up really quick. So are there any questions before Katie comes up?
Oh, no.
That was a lot of information. I just overloaded you, I'm sure. But all right, Katie, come on up.
I rep, obviously, Dr. Troy mentioned that I rep Juice Plus, and we inspire healthy living around the world. And we're the most thoroughly researched nutritional product on the market. And thank you so much for educating us on the dangers of fast food consumption and making us more aware of what it's really doing inside of our bodies, because that's very, very important for us to know. And then after talking about problems with fast food consumption, I think it's safe to say that we don't have a vitamin deficiency, but we have a whole food deficiency in this country and other countries too, but I think the U.S. is worse. Plants have phytochemicals, plant chemicals that provide micronutrients and macronutrients in our daily diet, which is necessary in living a healthy lifestyle for everybody. So somehow we have to figure out how to bridge the gap between what we do eat and what we really should be eating every single day. And Juice Plus does just that with simple whole food nutrition that allows us to flood our bodies with dozens of plants, fruits, and vegetables and berries every single day. So next month I'm going to dive into that a little bit more, and feel free to come up and look at some of the pamphlets that we have up here. So thank you again, and I'm going to turn it right back over to Dr. King.
Thank you, Katie. So next month we're going to be talking about Katie exclusively about Juice Plus. We'll be talking about micronutrients, the difference between micro and macronutrients, why micronutrients are essential to good, healthy living, and why we're not getting enough. It's a great education tool. It will change the way you eat at home, so come prepared. Bring some paper and pen, or type on your phone, because we're going to give you a lot of tools to empower yourself so that you can help your journey get further, because everyone's on a journey in life. No one's stagnant. If you're stagnant, you're dead. So everyone's on a journey. I don't care if you're going down or up, you're always moving. We're here to get you on the right track and get you going. I do want to leave with one offer. We always leave with an offer, and that is if you wish to become a patient of mine, then it's $19. for the first initial exam consultation and the first treatment, $19. And I treat kids free, so if the parents are under care, the kids are free. I don't think there's a doctor in the world that does that. What's that?
Maybe my niece.
Yes, of course. And that's it. That's what it is. I'm here to take care of your nervous system. We want to get your nervous system back on track. We want to make sure it's firing perfectly so that everything else will fire perfectly. That's the first thing we have to fix is the nervous system. And we do that through all the things we talked about today. Any questions?
I do have a question. So when you talk about whey having the casein in there, I know that ours is unddenatured, and then glutamate is also a source that has casein, but it's also fish, natural forms and stuff like, and it's low, like even tomatoes and stuff.
Yeah, yes, you're exactly right, and you've done your research on it, which is good. So casein in high doses, which is what the fast food restaurants use.
Okay.
Casein is found in a lot of different sources, and there's lots of different types of casein. But that's it. Again, it's a subject for another one, but it's great.
Our whey protein every day, so that's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, that has a lot of casein in it, the whey protein, because it's a milk substrate.
Right.
There's rice protein that's far better that does not have whey in it that will give you the same effect, but it will not slow down the metabolism. It will not set in your gut and create a bolus of food in there that doesn't move through your intestines. That's what the whey protein with casein in it does.
Right.
Rice protein and pea protein and all this other protein is far better because it actually digests in your body instead of rotting in there.
So even if it's unddenatured, it's still.
It still has casein in it, yeah, because it's from milk.
But I saw there's an article on the functional benefits of whey protein. The amino acid profile is like so close to ours.
You're right, and it is. And there's lots of good things out there. Like Isogenics is a great brand. I think that's what you
Yeah,
that's what
of
you're
course, that's the one I do.
And there's lots of good things out there. There's tons of good things out there, but it's the bad that can combat some of that good. You can have as much good as you want, but if you're drinking gasoline with your fruits and vegetables, you're still going to have the side effect of the gasoline. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's why within the company they have a plant-based protein.
Go with it, because it's far better. Okay, rice protein and pea protein, and there's several different proteins out there that are plant-based. I love it because everyone's so stuck on the protein thing. How much protein does our body actually need? Well, read 10 different books and you get 10 different answers. Someone say, I need 500 milligrams of protein, I need 50 milligrams of protein. Well, what's the correct answer? Well, what's the largest land animal known to man that's still living? Well, it's an elephant. How much meat do they eat? An absolute zero. Well, they're not like us. Well, they're mammals, but they're not like us. Okay, well, let's go to the gorilla. How identical are they to us? I mean, virtually identical. How much meat do they eat? Zero. They're 40 times stronger than a man. But they don't eat any protein, not animal protein. It's how much protein does kale have in it? A lot, and it's usable. Okay? How much protein does spinach have in it? A lot. It's usable. Okay? You don't need protein powder to build muscles. You just need to be eating more of the buy-already greens that you have in your house. It's a great question.
Well, I mean, I know we have the plant protein that has the branched chain amino acid profile, so it's as close as it gets, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have, like you said, the casein in
Yeah.
there.
No, yeah, the plant profile is the best. So, I mean, we could get into plant versus meat. We did that, what was that 2 or 3?
We did a series of 5
Yeah.
on all of that, and we really talked in depth on 1 or 2 of them, and it was very enlightening. You talked about the digestive tract and the teeth, and
Yeah.
it was very convincing.
Yeah, so if you look at the digestive tract and the teeth of a meat eater versus a plant eater, the digestive tract of a meat eater is about the length of their body, or 2 times the length of their body, because the meat has to be digested quickly, and they normally have multiple stomachs to handle the heavier proteins. Whereas a herbivore is normally 40 times the length of their body, which is exactly what a human body is. We have more molars than we have canines. We have 2, a set on each side of actually ripping meat. So our bodies are really designed to grind and chew fruits, vegetables, and grains. I mean, that's how we're designed. The China study goes through all of that in so much detail. It's absolutely amazing. The other thing, where was I going with that?
Well, I'm glad you asked. You were saying about how you should not eat meat.
Yes.
Yeah. Were you going back to Gersh?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are there any meats that you and your family do eat?
We're social meat eaters. That means when we go out and people are cooking meat, then we'll eat it. We don't eat meat in our house, rarely. If our kids on birthday dinners, if they want a steak, then we'll cook a steak. But mostly we're fruits and vegetables. We're vegan for the most part. Our kids have, for the first time in I don't know how many years, missed school because they have the flu right now. And that's the first time that I can even remember them ever missing school. And they hate me because they always get the award for perfect attendance every single year. And I owe that to chiropractic and the way we diet and the way we eat. I mean, we never have ear infections. 6 kids, not a single ear infections. Never strep, never sore throats, never sinus problems. We don't even know what that is in our house until we got the flu. Now, our kids have had common colds. You can't avoid those. But nothing serious, just we got the flu, and we're fighting through it. But they're like troopers, so they're doing well right now. That's why my wife isn't here. She's home with the sick ones. But
sir, in our networking organizations, there's always a wealth of distributors who sell some sort of food supplements, and the confusion lies not in the product being sold, but the confusion is where am I versus where do I want to be? And it seems to me like that's what keeps us from purchasing a lot of the food supplements. We don't know where we are, and we don't know where we should be. How do we find that out?
that is a great question. Janet, you have any advice? I have some advice, but I want to hear somebody else.
I can go a lot of different levels there. I meet people where they are right now, and a lot of times you have to take it step by step. We can't just go, today this is how you are, and tomorrow you have to do all these things and change everything right now. I mean, obviously, if we could, we would, and then we'd all be healthy. So,
That's such a,
yeah,
It's
exactly,
too hard.
Exactly. And
Too
so
many
just-
steps.
So I try to meet people where they are and say, what are you doing now? And I honestly, I start with water. Can you add more water? Sleep, like you said, huge thing. I'm probably the biggest violator of that, though. Hypocrite, whatever you want to call, because I have thought.
Hey, nobody's judging because nobody's perfect.
Exactly, but I start with water and sleep and say, can you add more water? If you are drinking diet soda or something like that, can you take sugary drinks for sure? Can you take that out, add more water? And if you can't do that today, can you take one away and add a glass of, we start where you are.
Does
if you're
coffee
already-
count as water?
No.
It's a diuretic.
Water is water. It doesn't mean that you can add the flavor enhancer. It doesn't mean that you can add that. People do count that. They count their tea as water. No, water is water is water.
And the difficulty with that is just all our bodies are different.
That's right.
Yes.
And there's underlying health issues that we may not be
Exactly, which
aware
is why
of.
you have to meet them where they are, because if you're diabetic,
It's
you
not-
need to start here. If you're high blood pressure, you need to start here. If you're all those
Correct.
things, you need, there's just so many different
There's
things
so
that
many-
you have to.
Yep.
Factors to customize something specifically for you.
That's why these fad diets, the blanket all, oh, you're going to lose weight, they just don't work. You need someone who's studied out. The first thing that I always ask every single consultation is, are you willing to do what I say?
Yeah.
Do you have a desire to change? And 9 out of 10 people, you know what their responses are? Nope.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
They go,
yes.
nope.
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10.
And I go, okay, great. We're just going to get you out of pain, and we're done. And that, it's a kind of a drill and fill mentality. But they're not ready for it. They're not going to do it. And after they say, yeah, I'm ready for it, then I lay out the plan and I go, are you willing to do this? And you know what they say? The 1% that actually accepts it? Nope. Because it's a huge step. It's a huge mindset change. And we do one step at a time. Okay, I want you to do this. Come back and report. And then they come back and they go, I didn't do it. Well, that's okay. Let's try it again next week. So where you're at now and where you want to be, well, I can tell you where you want to be, but where do you want to be? That's my question. Do you want to be 50 pounds lighter? Well, we can get you there. Do you want to be out running a marathon? Well, that's kind of unrealistic. Okay? So where do you want to be? That's the first thing, is where do you want to be? And then as a healthcare professional, someone who studied it for more than a year. I mean, there's so much stuff out there. No one can understand it in a year. I've been studying it for over 10 years, and I still read something and I go, what? I didn't know that. Okay, and I've studied it for 10 years nonstop every day. But I have a lot more information than most people out there because I've been studying it. Does that answer your question?
So since you have,
Rephrase it then.
no.
Rephrase
Since
your
you
question.
have so much, oh, well, okay, go ahead.
No.
Well, since you were talking about all of us being different, and you have so many resources, I actually was interested in doing some genetic testing to figure that stuff out. Do you think that would actually help?
Yes.
Okay.
And they have some great genetical testing out there. It's more geared towards drug-based right now. So they'll tell you whether your drugs will react with your DNA properly, whether you're metabolize it too fast or metabolize it too slow. But they are starting to develop a new blood test on food base, whether your body will handle the food. And there's a diet called the blood type diet. I'm sure you guys have heard of that book. Like A type is supposed to be vegan, C type is supposed to be meat. Blood type is such a minuscule part of who we are. I mean,
We'll identify like calcium. You have a problem with calcium.
Yeah.
So you can't take supplements with calcium, so you need to avoid that kind of stuff.
right. And there are tests developing. There's none developed 100% that I know of yet, but they're gearing towards it. I know of the drug one, and I know of the allergy one now that's developing that we can tell what foods you're allergic to. So they just need to take it one step further. I haven't heard of one yet, but they're very close. I mean, the thought process is there, and someone's working on it right now, I guarantee it. So.
Well, see, the frustrating thing for me, I wish Marilyn was here because she's up to this a lot more than I am. But, I can go to a health food store and I can buy a bottle of zinc, I can buy a bottle of chromium, I can buy magnesium, I can buy, the list just goes on and on. I haven't got a clue as to whether I need these things.
I see what your question is. So you know what I have my patients do? A food diary.
Do what?
A food diary. So I have you write down 2 weeks of what you eat, because what you eat now is probably what you ate 10 years ago, and you've been eating the same way for the last 10 or 20 or 30 or years, pretty close to the same, and I could tell you what you're deficient in just by what you eat.
Well, see, I probably.
What about blood tests?
Blood tests are very insensitive. Unsensitive? Insensitive? What's the word there? Insensitive? I don't know.
Inaccurate?
Inaccurate. There you go. Inaccurate.
Because I take mine every year, and I want to see, and I'm probably the oldest one in here. And
That's a
whole
compliment.
goal- I'm sorry?
That's a compliment to Bill right there.
And, my whole goal is to go through life without being on prescription drugs. It's just one of my goals. And I look at my blood test, and every year he goes, every year I show I'm low on vitamin D. So I take so much vitamin D now, so this is the first year in 10 years I'm actually average on vitamin D.
So,
But
what,
everything else shows normal or average, and I swear it's all because I take enough vitamins.
yeah,
You
and that,
can't eat enough fruits and vegetables in this world.
so
They don't make them right.
a concern and then a comment. ADEK, ADEK are fat-soluble vitamins. You can OD on them, which can cause liver failure.
Well, I don't take this many of them.
No, but they're very sensitive. No more than 50,000 IU a month if they're not
Are
bioavailable.
you talking about vitamin D?
Vitamin D.
I take 5,000 milligrams a day. That's it.
So you're pushing overdose, actually, because they're very hard to but anyways, that's another subject. We'll talk later.
We'll talk. I'll bring you mine.
So yeah, blood tests are inaccurate. So to give you an example, before a liver shows up on blood tests, guess what percentage of the liver is failing before it actually shows up? 80. 80% dead before it actually shows up on a liver test. Well, why is that? Because our bodies are amazing machines. We are able to cope with almost anything. It has to be very broken before it starts sending out triggers. Okay? Herniated disc, okay? It's been degenerating for the last 20 years. Trust me, it has been. But it doesn't hurt until you're at the last straw. Okay, your camel's broken, now you're crawling down the desert for yourself. That's why blood tests are not a great indicator. Okay, there's a lot better indicators out there. And that's, write this down, Brandis. I think we should talk about different ways of how do we know, how can we check our flags on how our body's doing. And the first
But
one.
I will say this, 10 years ago when I did my first one, and I gave it to my chiropractor way before I knew you, he sat me down and says, you are gonna get diabetes, you are this, and he scared the heck out of me, where I actually started eating better, a lot more water, got rid of the Diet Cokes.
Good.
So it made a difference.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely. And where you're at now is good.
Compared to, yeah.
But there is also a better,
Yeah.
and there's also a great. And it goes back to Bill's quote. I don't know where you want to be. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be good? Do you want to be okay? I have patients that come in and I have exercise. You rate yourself on 1 to 10 on your exercise level. And I've had people go, most strenuous exercise. And I look at them and go, you can't even walk up a flight of stairs without being winded. How are you telling me a 10? But that's their mindset. They think that they do work out hard, but they don't. I mean, they can't even walk up a flight of stairs without being winded. So there's good, better, best.
That would be a great.
You're good, but there's also better, and there is a best. Best is very hard to achieve. It's very hard. Very few people achieve best. Okay, I'm not on best. I'm on good, between good and better. Okay, and I'm constantly trying to get better and better and better so I can get best. But it's hard, especially with kids. So great, both very good questions.
I have a question about sugar. So we all know that sucralose is bad, sweet and low, that garbage. And for a while, they said Splenda was safe, but now it's not. And white table sugar is horrible and addictive and whatever. So where I'm at right now is kind of I'm on the fence between turbinado type of organic pure cane sugar and like a Truvia. What are your thoughts on stevia, Truvia, that kind of thing?
I have lots of thoughts. This could take all
And
night.
what about like pure natural honey agave? Yeah.
Honey's great. Honey's excellent. Is it sugar? Yep, still sugar. So this rolls into the oil content. Everyone says, well, coconut oil is the best oil for you. It's really good. It's healthy oil. Guess what? It's still 100% fat.
Right.
Okay, it's not good at all. It's better than this, but it's still bad. Okay, sugar. Okay, is sugar necessary for our body? Absolutely, yes. We need sugar. Our body will die if we do not have sugar. It is an essential component to our genetic makeup, our chemical makeup. We have to have it. So what type of sugar does our body need? Glucose. What's the closest form to glucose? Table sugar is actually. Okay? But our body wasn't designed to digest glucose. It was designed to digest fructose because it contains all the chemical compositions to convert fructose into glucose. Can we take glucose and survive? Yeah, we can. But fructose is far better. Well, where do we find fructose? Fruits. Do you need table sugar ever? No. Can you have it? Sure. Can you have 10 cubes of sugar every day? You know how much 10 cubes are? That's 1 can of Coke. So I did a presentation a year ago where I had 10 cubes up here, and I had a volunteer come up and eat the 10 cubes of sugar. He couldn't make it through it. I was like, well, that's what a can of Coke is. And it was just like, what?
But they put chemicals in the Coke so you don't feel sick from all the
That's
sugar. That's why you
exactly right. So sugar.
You're trying to sweeten something like with Truvia.
So
Tea or
yeah, so I like stevia the most because there's no refinement. It comes off of a leaf. But if I had to choose, it'd be pure sugar.
like turbinado type.
Yep, that's fine.
Organic pure cane
Yep.
sugar, not white table sugar.
No, yeah, the organic kind that's the least refinement it has, the better it is. If I were to choose, I'd use honey, but honey changes the flavor of most teas. And it'd be raw organic honey. I like my teas not sweetened though. I've been really working on reducing the amount of sugar. If you really work on it, your sugar levels really, you don't need them. So the answer to your question is, it's entirely up to you. Moderation. Can you eat table sugar? Certainly. Can you have 10 cubes a day? I highly don't recommend it. But you can. People drink Coke cans every day, right? Most people drink 6 to 7 Coke cans every day. I went over to a friend's house and got a basketball hoop for my kids, and he had 2 50-gallon drums full of soda cans, crushed. I don't know how many thousands of cans that was. I was like, whoa, this is a lot of cans. How long have you been collecting? Oh, about a month and a half. And I was like, what? And this guy's 6'2" and about 400 pounds. Is that too much sugar? Well, I would say yes, it's too much sugar.
How much sugar?
But he doesn't think it's too much sugar, obviously, because he's still doing it. So it's a mindset.
What
Okay.
I've heard there's something
Sorry.
in there that takes out all of the calcium out of your bones that you need.
It's a great question. It's called phosphoric acid. So phosphoric acid is in all the colas like Pepsi and Coke and stuff like that. It leaches calcium out of your body, out of your bones, and that's where you get calcium stones from, or renal stones. My cure for kidney stones is a 6-pack of Pepsi in 1 hour. Why? Because you're drinking phosphoric acid that will dissolve the stones, and then stop drinking Pepsi.
We had a patient recently,
Yeah.
Elle, and she legitimately did that and was going in for her ultrasound, did a 6-pack of Coke in an hour, and it was gone.
Gone.
Gone. It's insane.
Because it dissolves the calcium. It actually dissolves the bone in your body, and then it's fine. Well, you're drinking it constantly, low-dose aspirins, which I hate. You're constantly leaching the calcium out of your body, and then we have brittle bones disease all over the place.
What, low-dose aspirin?
Well, it's like a low-dose aspirin, drinking a Pepsi or a Coke a day.
Aspirin every day.
Yeah.
Is that also in like the diet, Pepsi's?
Yeah, it has phosphoric acid in it, and never drink diet. We won't even talk about that. That is bad, bad.
So how much sugar can you have on a daily basis? What's a good dosage? I mean, even fruits have a lot of sugar.
Yeah, so sugar isn't, people think that sugar is really bad, but it's actually not that bad for you, especially if you're eating in fruit. Can you OD on sugar in fruit? Yeah, but it would take a lot.
So
It'd take a
mango
lot
has
of
about
fruit.
24 grams. How
Yeah.
much mango's gonna have?
So you can eat a lot. So when we're juicing, and we'll talk about juicing next time with Juice Plus, because we do a lot of juicing in our house, and there is a lot of sugar in there, a lot of sugar in there. But our body can process it very quickly when we're eating greens. Because with greens, the sugars are fine because it combats it, and they work together, and it processes it quickly, and you process more of it, and then you're good to go. But if you mix sugar with fat and salt, we got problems because it'll process the sugars. Your body has a hard time processing the salts because you're not drinking water, you're drinking sugar, and then the fat goes in the fat, converts it to fat. So sugar, if you're eating healthy, it's not a big deal. Our body's designed to eat sugar and process sugar.
So 4 mangoes, huh?
Go for it. Go for it. Good. All great questions. Anything else?
Thank you, Dr. Torrey.
Thank you, guys, and thanks for coming.